Carty, and thank you so much for tuning in with us this week and to our studio audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. Joining us this week, this beautiful lady sitting to my right is Lisa Rose, and Lisa has started her own company called A.D of Roses. Let's talk about A.D of Roses and how you got started with your passion.
I opened up A.D of Roses 7 years ago, originally in Monroe, Connecticut, but it was, I wasn't a beader growing up, a person that would make jewelry, but I just walked into a bead store in North Carolina 8 years ago, enjoyed the ability to be able to make a beautiful piece of jewelry that I could instantaneously wear, knew that it would be a great type of business to open up in Connecticut, and the next year I actually opened it up.
That is awesome. So I know there's some of you talented folks out there that are really into the arts and crafts. I've got to show you a couple of her things. So tell us about this first one. It's beautiful.
This piece here, it's called the Circle of Life. I actually have it on as well. But it's just a beautiful piece. We sell this through our catalog as well as our home party company. Consultants sell it. But it's a beautiful piece that you're able to wear with a dress or even with a t-shirt with jeans. It's so versatile. It's one of our best-selling necklaces, and it's adjustable so that you'd be able to wear it shorter or longer.
So I know the question people will probably have at home, especially those women that might want to start their own craft business, is do you need to take a class? Do you really need to learn how to make these?
Well, the business that I have, even though we're a bead store, we're actually much bigger, and we can talk about that. I expanded the service levels of the business 2 years ago with the National Home Party business. So it's just like Pampered Chef, but it's for jewelry. So when we actually sell that piece, we sell it finished. We don't have people come into the store to actually make that. But it's certainly one of our best-selling pieces, and it certainly incentivizes people to want to have parties at home so they can actually win that for free.
But people can come in and get beads to create their own things.
Yes, they can. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it doesn't stop at beads, and I would imagine that you would have earrings, things to make bracelets. What about rings? Is it a little bit more difficult to do rings with beads?
Not at all, not at all. You'll often put it on stretchy wire and then tie it with a surgeon's knot. But you could put sterling silver, you could put gold, filled beads, crystals. The sky's the limit. There's a really easy design where you just string it up and size your finger and just tie a surgeon's knot and tuck the knot into the spacer or the bead, and it's a beautiful bead that's a little bit expandable, but very comfortable.
Now, what I love about it is, the uniqueness of it. I love one-of-a-kind things, right? And so I would imagine, like in the summer, anklets must be big, toe rings must be big, things like that. So seasonal, you get things that are a little bit more that people come in and try to look for craft pieces for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people come into our store, even artists that truly have their own business also. They'll come into our store just to get inspired to see what's trending, what's new. Our store, A.D of Roses, has a little bit more of a slant towards using leather and then something sparkly, leather and pearl, because we like the combination or the marriage of the two, of natural versus crystal, because it appeals to everyone or most people. So we've definitely got a little bit of an edge, but a classy edge when it comes to our jewelry design.
So what else is trending now?
Oh goodness, well, wrap bracelets. Wrap bracelets are big, but then also anything that a person can wear in more than one style, meaning we make a lot of lariats where it can be worn as a long necklace, but then it can also be worn as a double necklace, and it can also be worn as a bracelet. So when you can get a piece that has 3 in 1, it's huge. Huge. People love it. It's such a good value.
It's awesome. That is awesome. So I know when people start businesses brand new, that the first thing you think of pretty much is your market. Who's your niche market going to be? Your market's got to be huge. From little girls, Girl Scouts, brownies, all the way to grandmothers.
Exactly.
Who do arts and crafts.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And the whole gamut.
Yep. We actually we do birthday parties in the store too. So besides being a full service bead store, we also do birthday parties where girls as young as 5 years old have incredible birthday parties. Yeah, it's not just a regular plastic bracelet and ring that they walk out with. The jewelry that a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old and 7-year-old, all the way up until 99 years old, the jewelry's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's keepers, yeah.
It's keepers. You know, the one thing we hear all the time whenever moms schedule their daughter's birthday party at the store, when they invite 15 kids to come to the store, all 15 kids show up. Yeah. And oftentimes the moms stay because they're just they're so impressed and inspired to be in a store where the quality of the product is excellent, but also their daughter is making something that when they walk out of the birthday party, they are so inspired and so happy. Yes. If the child's happy, the mom's happy.
So let's talk about how you've also parlayed that into not just jewelry.
Yep.
Look at this beautiful Christmas ornament.
So that's
absolutely gorgeous. Tell us about these crystals on here.
So the translucent bead, this is called moonstone. It's faceted moonstone, and this is actually snow quartz. My store is in Newtown, and that is a design that we actually made 2 years ago after the Sandy Hook tragedy, and that is our Sandy Hook original snowflake ornament. The colors, anytime a young child is in our store, we're very playful with them, and so anytime we've ever used moonstone, to us it's just a very angelic, pure type of stone. And then the combination of the snow quartz together, it was for us, it was the right design for what the community needed.
It's the light.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, a lot of people, they certainly put it on the Christmas tree, but they actually keep it all year round as a sun catcher too. They put it on,
I was gonna say.
Or even on. I've seen them from chandeliers. I've seen people use hurricane lamps and a big candle in the middle, and then drop that on the outside of a hurricane lamp, and the entire room will actually sparkle. It's beautiful.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you do a lot outside of your business for the community, and so I would like to show a short video clip. But first, before we see that clip, tell us about this family that you and your pals went and helped. It's just become my heart.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the first big events that got me hooked on just helping people and always doing something. Back then it was once a year, something big like a home makeover, which that was in the Bronx. But we've since, I'm addicted to it now. Now it's not just once a year. It's what I do.
Yeah.
But my business, it's a for-profit business, and I have a managing partner that's with me also running the business. But we get a chance to give back on a daily basis by working with so many foundations to help them raise money for their missions, and in return, we get a chance to make beautiful jewelry for them most of the time. But be part of their mission too. So it's twofold. So going back to Sheila, when we found out about the family and just the tragedy of what had taken place, it was a phone call to Rich first, as ironically, where I just ran it by him to say, what do you think about doing a home makeover? We were all in Connecticut.
Yeah, so it's a grandmother that lost her daughter and going to take in 6 of her daughter's children.
8.
Or 8 of her daughter's children.
Yeah,
all right,
so and they were all young babies.
And they're all young.
Young kids.
So let's take a quick pause here, and we're going to take a look at that video clip.
Six children that live here watched as their mother was stabbed to death by her ex-lover in August. Since then, they've been raised by their struggling grandmother.
And it's an early Christmas gift for a woman who hasn't had it easy. She's raising her 6 grandchildren on her own after their mother was murdered in front of them. But now the holiday will be a little brighter thanks to some complete strangers. It all started this morning when Sheila and her 6 grandkids were picked up from church in a limo for a day in the city. Little did they know more surprises were in store. Dozens of volunteers from a group called New York Power Team converged on Sheila's Bronx apartment for a home makeover.
While they were distracted, volunteers feverishly stripped down and built back up their Bronx home.
Closet 2. Yeah. All right. Yep. Hello. Here. Hello, Mama Cooper. Get nice new closet put in.
Is it on schedule?
Oh, I tell you. Let's hope so. Better be. And look at this beautiful paint.
They painted walls, scrubbed floors, and rolled out rugs. It was out with the old and in with the new, transforming the family's apartment.
Call it a labor of love. Call it a random act of kindness. Just don't tell this tireless team of volunteers they can't make a difference in one day.
Whoever gets to hear about this, I hope they get inspired by this. It's one day out of our life.
Actually, this ambitious group had only 12 hours to completely make over this house, from new bathrooms to furniture, appliances, and don't forget the Christmas presents and the tree, all for a Bronx family in desperate need of a break.
Well, they don't have any mom or dad. They don't have any mentors whatsoever. The grandmother is doing everything she physically can.
We want them to know that we'll be here for them.
Hope, faith, that there are, just to know that there are good people in the world that really, really care.
This is actually the second time some of these volunteers are here in this apartment. Last month, they delivered a Thanksgiving basket here. They say they were so taken with the family, they wanted to do more.
They were excited. They were hugging us because we brought food and games and things for the kids at Thanksgiving.
So they went to work spreading holiday cheer to a family who needed it.
What a beautiful thing you guys did. It absolutely beautiful, warms my heart. So as we wrap, please tell our viewers, how they too can be inspired to start their own business and how they can reach you at A Bead of Roses.
Sure. The website's easy. It's abeadofroses.com, just like a bed of roses, but a bead of roses to show our creativity. In regards to getting started with a business, I would say just, you'll find your passion, but sometimes business is presented to you, or an opportunity will be presented to you where maybe that's not what you thought you were going to do. I certainly had no intention growing up to own a bead store. I didn't even know what a bead store was. But it was just, it was an opportunity. I fell in love with the art of being able to, without formal training, make jewelry with, some good tools and some good instruction. But I wasn't afraid to fail. That's, one of the biggest things is don't be afraid to fail, but don't start off so big. Start off small. My first store was 600 square feet. Then I moved it to 1,100 square feet. Then I moved it to a 1,200 square foot store. And now my store is a 3,100 square foot store. Wow. So start small. That old cliche of, starting the business in a garage or in the basement. Well, I was pretty close. I was in a 600 square foot store. But as I grew the business, I kept putting the money back in the business. And now I think it's probably the biggest bead store in Connecticut.
Absolutely, reaping the rewards and blessing others. I want to thank you so much, Lisa Rose, for coming and being on the program. www.abeadofroses.com. Thank you so much. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We've got the gentleman that is going to lead us in the right direction. And we have, as I told you, for our second segment, a very dynamic man. I am so excited to have him on the program. Welcome, leadership coach Richard Kuepper, president of L.E.A.D USA. So, Rich, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience.
Tell us a little bit about L.E.A.D and exactly what inspired you to start L.E.A.D.
Well, L.E.A.D is a company that specializes in leadership development and team performance. And what inspired me? Many years ago, my background is in electrical engineering, so it's a little bit different. And then I got into sales and into sales training. And I really loved working with the young salespeople that came into the company and taking them on the road and showing them the ropes and giving to them what I had learned kind of through the road of hard knocks and helping them be successful. And when that moment that lit up for them, that all of a sudden, they got it, they got the approach and helped them take their business to the next level, it really, inspired off something positive in me. And so then I began looking for ways in which I can maybe start my own training company. And when I found the resources here in Connecticut, I decided to go out on my own and start my own training company.
Well, there's a lot of leadership, quote unquote, coaching out there, but yours is very different, very unique. And I know you've worked with some really, really big companies like eBay and LinkedIn and PayPal. Those are huge companies. So you've got to be doing something that's different and unique and not off the shelf, is what I'd say. So what is L.E.A.D's approach to training versus that traditional classroom, PowerPoint, click and shoot, and somebody, the talking head? What is it that you do that's different? And I know that there's a science that's behind it that's probably been really effective for you.
Yes, well, thank you. I've been very fortunate and privileged in my career to work with some of the world's best companies. And it's those companies that are making those kinds of investments in their people that's what makes them world class. My approach, though, is what is referred to as experiential training. Experiential training is you're involved in the learning physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's what makes it stick. Versus, we've all been in the classroom since grammar school where we're sitting there and someone's dumping information on us. It's very difficult to be engaged. But what I do is I create a metaphor, a physical metaphor to blanket the learning environment. So they're engaged in this activity, or let's say a game, or this challenge that they're faced, and it doesn't feel like learning. And then after the experience, we then debrief, we take a look at our behavior and our actions and our decisions that we made in that context, and what can we learn from that so we can be more effective in the business world. So if it's aligned well with, the metaphors aligned well with the business needs, then it really works.
So you must have to basically custom design most of your trainings.
That's
for
correct.
What I like to call, every company has their own DNA. So you would have to custom design your training to each company's DNA?
That's absolutely correct. And that's what really sets us apart from many of our competitors. It's not the off-the-shelf, here's our team building 101 program. I spend a lot of time up front with my clients finding out what is their specific needs and then design a program around it. Now, many of those needs are similar in other organizations as well, but the angle, the approach, and the language in which we choose to frame that activity or the exercise or the day-long or 3-day-long or week-long training is all tailored to the particular client.
You talked a little bit about high potential leaders. Can you tell from going to a business right away who those individuals might be out of a group?
For myself, typically I'm brought in to train them. Smart organizations today, they are looking at their talent in the organization and identifying, marking out the people that they feel can step into a leadership role. Once they've identified them, they are going to make those investments and to help those people be highly effective.
Okay. All right, so please share your little heartwarming story on the building of the bicycle. I love that story.
Well, it's one of my favorite programs to deliver because it ties in what my client needs and what the community needs. So typically it's a team building activity. We take a large group of people, we break them down into small teams of 4.
And you did that with any of these that are on here?
Oh, I've done it actually with PayPal. I did it with many companies. Regeneron had actually designed it for GE many years ago. So it's been refined over the time. So the idea is this group of professionals need to change their behavior and how they interact with each other to be a more of an effective team. So I give that small team a box of bicycle parts, no instructions, and a toolbox. They don't know, but the toolbox is incomplete. So they don't have all the tools they need to assemble that. But all the tools they need are within all
the other teams
as well. So they'll have to learn to share. The idea is to share. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes they barter, they want to sell the tools to each other, in highly competitive environments. It's interesting how the culture of the organization comes through in an exercise like that. And then unknown to them, behind the scenes, I've worked for 2 weeks prior to that with a local organization working with kids in need that really could use a break, really could use a kind of a win of their own. But instead of just being a company that delivers a bike to them, and we make sure that the company provides a helmet and a lock as well, I do a development activity with them for 2 weeks prior to that as well. And so we're working with the adults in the organization to build capacity at that end as a team, and also capacity with those kids in the community that needed the understanding that they could be a force of power in their own life. That they don't need to have a victim mentality. They can have a mentality of, hey, I can make a difference in my life and in the lives of others. So we do that with them for 2 weeks. The kids who do well there are invited to receive the bikes. The adults don't know the kids are coming. The kids don't know they're receiving a bike. So when the two groups come together, it's quite emotionally charged.
Oh, absolutely. The pictures really don't speak to the impact of that program. It's fabulous.
Yeah, we've had people in tears because the adults, they just see this as some kind of team building activity. They go through that, they get it done in 45 minutes. It's a business scenario, they have time pressure. But then you pick up their bike and the front wheel falls off and rolls across the meeting room floor. Quality wasn't a concern until the kids walk in the room. Now they meet their customer, and all of a sudden quality becomes paramount. So I have technicians that we check out the bikes to make sure
everything is
safe. We also let the kids then break away, and we have the local police department give them bike safety instructions. While that's happening, we are now having a deeper dive in a conversation about customer service and your attention to detail, and no matter where you are in the organization, that there's a customer out there that'll be impacted by the quality of your work.
I would think about the internal things too, yes?
Yes.
About how they interacted with each other, for the teams that actually shared the tools and those that try to buy or barter the tools, for those that actually thought enough to go and seek out who might have. I mean, I could just go, whoa, that's it.
One of the best parts of the program is when the kids come in, I introduce them to the adults and I say, hey, guess what? They've been learning some team building activities. What are the qualities of being a good team member? And the kids say, you need to share, you need to trust each other. So the kids all know right away, and all the adults fall over laughing because it's all the behavior that they didn't demonstrate.
That's right, yeah, that's awesome. So speak to this, we have a picture here of you on a boat. What's that about?
Oh, this is the Sailing to Success program. Mm-hmm. Sailing is an excellent metaphor for your life, for business. You have to know where you are, you need to know where you go, so you set your goal, you chart your course, you have your plan, your strategy, and how to get there. Now we start on that journey and all of a sudden something happens. The wind blows us off course, the current's against us. But the captain and the crew don't get upset. Hey, we just reset our sails and now the wind changed. Oh, boo-hoo, we're, sad for us. No, they just understand that they live and operate in a dynamic environment and they need to adjust the same. And the same is true for me as an entrepreneur, for us running our families and our communities. There's all of a sudden there's Ebola, all of a sudden there's this other threat to our health or safety. We need to adjust to take care of those things and not get hung up emotionally, but be agile enough to take on whatever challenges that life throws us.
Yes. And we have another picture here with these ladies. I see one lady in a go-kart.
Oh, that's our Racing to Win program.
What's that about?
And often companies come to me, they need to create more urgency in their people to execute. It's a very competitive global environment today. And we've had the luxury in this wealthy nation to be the leaders, and we don't often execute with the urgency that we need to. And so this is a Racing to Win. So it's a fun way to have the metaphor of a race, a fun activity. Really get at what does it take. You have to be quick, but you also have to deliver a quality product. And so all those elements of being quick to the marketplace, first in the marketplace, gets that brand recognition, and those kinds of things get built into a program like that.
So if a company wants to bring you in, do you come in and you do some sort of analysis before you create a design program for them, training program?
Certainly they find me through my website or through other contacts. I've been around now 20 years, so I'm fairly well known here, and I work nationally and internationally. And it's that needs analysis we do up front. So a lot of times they know something's not quite right, or the behavior of this team or this group of leaders isn't what they want. They kind of know where they want to move it to, so how do we do it? Why they hire me is because I can get there quicker and more effective than the traditional learning model. Because I can put the 12 steps of being an effective team or leader on a PowerPoint slide, but people will see that, recognize it, but go back to their old behavior. But if they're engaged physically, mentally, and emotionally, and it really hits them in their heart, then we have the opportunity for them to change their behavior.
Yes, change their behavior and move. So we only have about 1 minute before we wrap up. So if you could just share how people can contact you, number one, and some words of advice to those that are out there that might want to start their own business, and how you got that inspiration to start leadership.
So the best way to find more information about my company and the programs that we deliver is L.E.A.D, L-E-A-D-USA.com. And my advice to any entrepreneurs out there would be, you need to follow your passion. It was a windy road, but you begin that road. And just like driving your car at night, only the first 200 feet may be illuminated. You drive those 200 feet, and then the next will be illuminated, the next will be illuminated. And now it's 20 years later, I get to travel the world working with the world's best companies, and far beyond my wildest dreams when I initially thought, hey, I think I have some value that I could offer companies in the space of leadership and team building. So it's been a magical adventure for me, and that's my catchphrase, make your life a magical adventure.
Yeah, and I can imagine, and rewarding as well for you.
Yes, very much so.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program. Richard Kuepper, leadership coach. And from the first segment, Lisa Rose. Thank you so much for coming on, and for my guests, thank you for being here with us today in the studio audience, and we look forward to seeing you on the next